Hello and welcome to another brownie episode of Today in the News. My name is Precious Chukudi and I have you my co-host.
Dangola Bushaki.
Alright, we'll just move straight and to our front pages of the newspaper. And we have Vanguard this morning, day 4, panel grills Magu's 7 untouchables. The riders, we have 7 untouchables accused of blackmail, extortion of money from suspects, appropriating exhibits, selling off forfeited seized assets, asked to explain role in exploit of AG EFCC chairman. Magu brought to Aso Villa at about 10 a.m. yesterday for more grilling. And COVID-19 updates, we have Lagos records 157 new infections as confirmed cases rise to 30,748. And stories above: impeachment, set up panel to probe Ondo deputy governor, assemblies tell chief judge. You can see more on that story on page 10. And on page 8, the regulation, federal government never promised to keep fuel price permanently low, says minister. On page 14, COVID-19, NDDC taken to task by Senate over 3.14 billion naira palliative for police staff. On stories beneath, we have Boko Haram relocates to Northwest, North Central as bandit defense headquarters. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, we have we are afraid to confront Lucifer, Church of Satan founder, says Abia community resident. And away from Vanguard, we move straight to this day newspaper.
Okay, on the front page of this day newspaper, we have panel quizzes top EFCC officials as the Magu's interrogation enters a 4th day. Demands files of cases, forfeited assets register, and cash releases since 2015. And also, my house not searched by anti-graft agencies, says Abdusalami Abubakar. Details can be found on the front page, and it continues on page 9. And on other stories, we have Osibanjo seeks to clear claim, petitions Inspector General on alleged 4 billion naira bribe. And also on the story below, we have Ondo Deputy Governor Assembly asks CJ to compose a probe panel. And of course, details of that is on page 5. And lastly, on the front page of this day, we have South Africa overtakes Nigeria in cost of borrowing. And from the front page of this day, we'll move straight to the Nation newspaper.
And on the Nation front page, we have main headlines: Magu battles for bail as EFCC chief face panel. The riders, 4 billion naira allegation, Osibanjo demands probe. 16 top officials before Salami committee. And we have 7 held for Ekiti Ondo bank robbery. You can see more on that story on page 4. Lagos alerts residents to looming flood. Lagos mainland, Mushin, Ikorodu, Ibejuleki to be worse hit. And stories above, we have 9 jostle for Ondo deputy governor. Speaker to CJ raise. And on page 28, we have NEC OK's governor's input in 2.3 trillion naira stimulus plan. And away from the Nation newspaper, we move straight to the Guardian.
And on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, we have more operators quit a $17 billion e-commerce sector. And on the rider, we have Alpoor Logistics, infrastructure distraught in the players, fake products, bad customers service, worry consumers. Ghana beats Nigeria on global average spending. And of course, you can see that on the front page of The Guardian. And moving on to other stories, on page 13, we have ASU Films as United States plans to deport 16,000 Nigerian students. Knocks the federal government over neglect of education system. Says years of agitation for improved sector vindicated. And moving on to the stories on page 3, we have Nigeria develops COVID-19 test kits. Outcome of Madagascar organics out soon. INEC declares no face mask, no voting in Ondo, Edo Gupa elections. And that's all we have on the front page of The Guardian.
Alright, we're moving straight to our newspaper analysis segment after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And if you're just joining us, it's still today in the news on Vanguard Live, and this is a newspaper analysis segment where we have a guest who will be joining us via Zoom. He's in the person of Oladribe Benro. He's the Executive Director, Emergency and Risk Alert. You're welcome, sir. Good morning, sir. Mr. Benro, can you hear me clearly?
It's a pleasure being with you.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you right now.
Okay, so we're discussing the major headlines this morning, and it says that day 4 panel grills Magu 7 untouchables, and I don't know if you've been following the story from Monday when it broke. What's your take on the new developments on this case? Hello, Mr. Benro.
Well, I think it's whenever development. Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, you just continue speaking. I can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you clearly, Mr. Benro.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
And you are not here. All right. Okay. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you clear. Just keep
The
speaking.
position of trust is expected to live above board. There's nothing strange in what is going on in respect of Magu's trial in this country is that a position like that of a chairman of EFCC requires somebody of high pedigree, somebody with a grade of intelligence, and at the same time is conscious, always conscious of the position that he occupies, and so that we know that it's a trust that is being held on him, and he must work not to betray that trust. If you look at allegations that have been placed against Magu, we will find out that it doesn't matter what he has done with the position he gives, but he ought to have lived above board himself, which he has failed in this respect. I think that is the whole essence of his trial here, and I'm convinced that if he's able to come out unscathed, well, I think that will be a plus to him. But that probability is a remote one, because if you look at the vagaries of allegation against him, you find out that there seems to be there are elements of truth in most of the allegation against him. The fact that he has been selling part of the assets that he has recovered to friends, that can easily be established if it is true. And also the accusation that he has made himself unaccountable. If you can't occupy such posts and begin to build accountability-free zone, that is not the essence of that holding that position. You should even be somebody that is conscious that you put responsibility to the people, to society, in terms of giving account of what you are doing in such office. And Magu, to some extent or a reasonable extent, has come short of this. I think that is the essence of the trial.
All right. According to some source, the president was aware of the complaints and petition against Magu, but asked the panel, which has been sitting for some time, not to invite him yet. What's your take on this response?
Yeah, I think that is a very great minus on the side of the president. The allegation was among us. In fact, it was brought out twice by DSS at the threshold of his appointment. The allegations were brought out. They were not, even though Magu responded to them, but another report still indicted him that the second time, the president ought to have seen an early warning signal at that particular level, which he ignored. And you should only realize that Magu has been suspended from that from why he was not even the head of the. I think that when Farida took over the organization, the institution of the EFCC, he was suspended for keeping official files in his personal residence, and that raised elements of suspicion in his credibility. At that particular time, those things are there. In fact, he was not in office for almost 3 months before he was eventually reinstated by Lamode. So these are early warning signals that were ignored. And under accusation of his relationship with those who are suspected to be benefiting from proceeds of corruption. The president chose to ignore all those things. He take his so-called integrity, he threw it behind Magu, and we have seen the end result has collapsed eventually. And I think that is not good for the president, it's not good for management, it's not good. And most especially when the cornerstone of your government is anchored on anti-corruption. So I think it's a very calamitous judgment by the president in terms of giving support to a person that has been severely indicted by report of the same Directorate of State Services, which work for the presidency directly. So it's not good for the president.
Okay, let's talk about the 7 untouchables who have been accused of blackmail, extortion of money from suspects, appropriating exhibits, selling off forfeited seized assets. And you know, during the trial, while this is still going on, there are people who are coming out to say, oh, he collected money from me for so, and these people are bringing out, you know, documents to show that this is what caused you know, this action. What's your take on that one?
Well, please repeat the question. I can't get it well.
Okay, I said let's talk about the 7 untouchables that have been accused of blackmail, extortion of money from suspects. There's been a lot of people who have been coming out as foreigners and even wealthy Nigerians coming out to say that you know, they were extorted for some, you know, some background you know, like runs that was happening. What's your take on that one?
Yeah, you can't rule that out when allegations of these nations are leveled against the head of an organization. People must definitely come out. We are not likely to rule that out. Why I'm not given any flip that Magu did not work alone? Why on board? He worked with some people that have been strangely called Magu's boys. So one of the allegations was that they were only accountable to Magu alone and nobody. So most of the operations of the EFCC were short. Secrecy. And it could not be traced, it could not be from people of shade. I'm not going to reach imagined conclusion on that, but then I'm not going to dismiss such allegation. So they are more likely to commit such atrocity than not. That is my take on that accusation.
Okay, there appears to be some kind of jostling between the heads of operation and the commission secretary on over who should act in the absence of the embattled acting chairman. Now, the Salami-led panel is saying that they want a civilian. They don't want someone who is part of the EFCC body, because I mean, these other people too knew of what was going on in the organization and never came out to speak about it. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I think at the risk of saying that I didn't hear the question well, but let me state that there is need for rejigging the architecture of the EFCC. I don't support the fact that the head of such organizations should be restricted to police institution alone. Retired commissioner of police or serving commissioner of police becoming the chairman of EFCC. It's an attestament in a society where police itself, in the last 1 decade, has become top on corruption index. So it doesn't speak well. It's not logic. It doesn't control to logic. That when you have an institution that is almost irredeemably corrupt, and you continue to recruit the SARS of anti-corruption from such institution, there is need for to reform the EFCC in terms of who should become the chairman and where they should come from. It shouldn't be restricted to police formation or police, the Nigerian police. All along, you could see that most of the people who work here, they have knowledge of intelligence which the job deserves, possibly to intimidate people. That is not how to fight corruption. Corruption cannot be handled like that. So I will support any reform that will come the way of EFCC. There must be legal reform, and of course there must be institutional reform, as well as cultural reform. The conduct should align with global best practice, and not this rude way of extorting people, breathing down on people, intimidating people, and becoming tool in the hands of ruling governments. So EFCC law should be extricated, even to me, from the powers of the president. National Judicial Commission should be the one to appoint in a reform that I envisage that should appoint the head of EFCC and not the president, because the president, all member, you have a country like this, look at what is happening in NDDC. NDDC, interim management committee was instituted less than 6 months ago to go and reform the place, checkmate corruption, and at the same time carry out forensic audit of the place. But look at what we are getting here today. A group of people got there, used 1.5 billion naira to take care of themselves, and they were not ashamed of you saying that. And look at the demonstration of such a crisis you have at the National Assembly yesterday, when they were engaging the Committee of Niger Delta, how they were exchanging whose corruption is bigger among those in NTDC and those that the committees on Niger Delta, both in the House of Representatives and Senate. So it's a shameful thing for this country to be producing this type of people. And it's because of the way we place our institutions in the hands of omnipotently powerful presidents that make it to be overall control and of course of such institutions. So we should have independent institution like NJC that will appoint the head of EFCC. So it shouldn't come from the president who is the head of the security. We are executive in this country is the actual domain of corruption. So we shouldn't have it that way again.
Okay. Okay, you know, talking about
I don't know whether you are hearing me.
We're hearing you
clearly.
clearly.
Okay, so Defense Headquarters disclosed yesterday that Defense headquarters disclosed yesterday that 104 bandits and 92 Boko Haram terrorists were eliminated, during several military operations in the northeast and northwest in the last 1 week. So, what's your take on this? Considering that we're still talking about insecurity issues in Nigeria.
Hello, Mr. Benro, can you hear us clearly? Hello? Okay, we're going on a break right now, so we'll see how we can connect with him once more. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And if you're just joining us, it's still today in the news. We're trying to connect with him, but network issues and all of that is one of the things that is affecting us. And we'll move on to other stories, and we'll move on to the deregulation. Our federal government never promised to keep fuel price permanently low, says Minister. And the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipre Silva, clarified the stance of the federal government relating to the deregulation of the downstream petroleum industry and the hike in price of petrol, stating that at no time did it promise to keep the price of petrol permanently low. This explanation is coming following criticisms by the Nigerian Labour Congress, the United Labour Congress (ULC), and other labour bodies and trade union over uncertainties in the deregulation policy, which they also called on the government to reverse the recent hike in the price of petrol. And so, Timipre is saying that there was never a time the government promised that petrol would come really low, So why is all these labor bodies coming out to say it must be reduced and everything? So it's just one of all these things that happen in the country.
Okay, so moving on to the story, it said that Boko Haram relocates to northwest and north central. So talking about them, so the military high command has confirmed that scores of Boko Haram terrorists fleeing the intense land against their hideouts and camps in the northeast were infiltrating, and northwest and north central involving armed banditry and other crimes. Defense headquarters disclosed yesterday that 104 bandits and 92 Boko Haram terrorists were eliminated during several military operations in the northeast and northwest in the last 1 week. The coordinator of defense media operations, Major General John, noted that the type of weaponry found with the bandits, such as anti-air aircraft gun, PKT gun, capable of shooting down an aircraft, was an indication that some Boko Haram criminals might have relocated to the northwest and north central. Speaking on the withdrawal of military from checkpoints across the country, which is capable of opening way for terrorists and bandits fleeing military offensives to freely relocate to other parts of the country. Major General John said that it was due to complaints of Nigerians, especially during the COVID-19 lockdown. He, however, pointed out that it was an action that will be reviewed and reconsidered since Nigerians are expressing their concerns over these actions.
Okay, moving on, we have we are afraid to confront Lucifer, Church of Satan founder, and the residents of Ibim, Ohafia town in Abia state, where the Church of Satan was located, expressed their joy following its demolition by irate youth, claiming that they were afraid to confront the founder because of alleged possession of evil powers that could kill anyone who challenged his activities. The church, also known as Assembly of Lights Bearer Greater Church, was founded by a young man identified as Ifekwe Udo, and Udo is popularly known as Lucifer. Was also said to have continued terrorizing the Ohafia community, as no one dared to challenge him. However, Nemesis caught up with Lucifer as he was arrested by the police in the state for violating protocols on COVID-19. There are also reports that he built a brothel there, and after the police had arrested him, some of the youth went into his church and demolished all the idols and everything that was there. It's a very very dicey story. But then you have what story to take?
Yes, I have. That's the impeachment that set up panel to probe Ondo deputy governor. That's the assembly telling the chief judge. So Ondo State House of Assembly yesterday directed the chief judge of the state, Justice Olariwaju Akere Dolu, to set up a 7-man panel to investigate allegation of gross misconduct leveled against the deputy governor, Mr. Agbola Ajayi. This came on a day 9 members of the assembly wrote to the chief judge dissociating themselves from the ongoing plan to impeach the deputy governor. They said they are not in support of the impeachment based on the conviction. Meanwhile, the impeachment notice has been received by the deputy governor, Mr. Ajayi, reacting to the suspension of the 3 lawmakers who dissociated themselves from this impeachment. Ajayi said that the desperation of the governors to sack him will fail, and warned the governor against turning the state to a banana republic.
Alright, so let's just take some comments on the page, and this is from Osa Giobari. Says hash hush Magu the saint. Magu is to Nigeria what hush puppy is to the world. The difference is one is legal and the other one is illegal. Also, one will walk free and the other one will be jailed. Guys, now know who will walk free. And then this is from Adia Bright. Says there was once a country. Until we emerge to produce a good leader, Nigeria will remain the same. And Simon says, waiting no go happen for Nigeria. Even government go, they blame government. Chai. And this is from Abdul Kadri. He says most of the people that are working in Nigeria government are corrupt in one way or another. But it's only those that were caught that are seen to our eyes to be the corrupt ones. And this is Michael Achua says they should leave Hush Puppy alone. These are the real fraudsters. And Yahaya says we shall continue to be praying so that the Almighty will show us the enemies of this great nation. Alright, that's all we can take on the comment. We'll just move straight to Mr. and Mrs. And Mrs. is saying, men and their ego. By the way, what can men do without women? Just one thing, tell me. And Mr. replies, it's too late for that question. I'm already married. Because he knows that if he says what he wants to say,
no, of course,
he might not sleep in that house. No. Alright, so that's all we can take on our paper review and also our newspaper analysis segment this morning. Remember that for you to get more of our top stories, you should go on our website www.vanguardngl.com to find out more on our top stories. And also remember to like, share and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. Till we come your way next week on Monday, remember that you should keep on keeping your environment clean, sanitize properly, use your nose mask. It's really important. Till we come your way next week, stay safe. My name is Precious Chukudi and I have with me my co-host
Bye bye.